Right, okay, so today I am joined by Curtis. Now, Curtis probably needs no introduction, but if you want to know, Curtis has been a seller on Amazon for how many years now, Curtis?
Over 3 years now.
Over 3 years, yeah. And he runs a very successful group called LevelUP FBA. Lots of members follow his journey, his story, and he shares top tips around retail arbitrage in the UK. And he's been doing it and blogging or talking about it for a very, very long time. And you know what? It's been a real pleasure working with him. He is a busy, busy man. I will never deny that. And maybe we might find out why today. But to be honest, this is, if you want to know, this is the second time we've recorded this because the first time it didn't work. And today we are literally, I've had the pleasure of, should we say, being able to hire a VA for Curtis. And today we're just going to talk through that journey, what it was like before, what happened, what went wrong, and then what happened afterwards, and what life has been like afterwards, I think, really. So I think, look, my first kind of, my first thing is to say thank you for Curtis for joining me. And then second of all is to say, Curtis, do you just want to quickly tell a little bit about yourself and, maybe your journey, maybe something I haven't said already?
I don't think it's anything nobody already knows because I'm pretty open with what I talk about anyway. I've been selling for like 3 years, 3 months, started 3 years ago. I don't know. It was like 2017 or something. Over like 500 quid and a dream, and literally just buying stuff and flipping it on eBay. And found out about Amazon and quit my job at Ocado due to an injury, and it all timed out perfectly and kept scaling it up, and here we are now.
Thank you very much for sharing. But I think my first question is, tell me a little bit about life before a VA and why you started to think about, maybe getting a VA. That's the question.
Yeah. So, like I've said before, with our previous talks, it's the biggest thing about it for me was the time. So where I do all my bookkeeping, my accounting, and running the Amazon business and some other bits on the side, it's crazy how many hours that you can really, really work in a day. Like, I get 24 hours. You work probably most of them and sleep as little as you can. But even then, there still doesn't seem enough hours because by the time you finish the last thing, it's 1:30 in the morning. You've got to be up at 6 and your functionality is just not, you're not putting that, you can't give 100% of your business to grow. So for me, it was, I needed to find someone who I could outsource and source deals for me so I could free up, a big portion of my day doing things that I knew that was going to grow my business. And it's something that someone said, dude, what's going to happen. You ask me questions, I answer it really bad. So somebody said to me, I saw someone post it, are you working on your business or in your business? And for 3 years, I was always working in my business. So it was ticking along and like there was steady growth, but it wasn't excelling like the point where I felt like I was making it and making a good sum of money. So yeah, before getting a VA, it was just a case of how many hours in the day have I got that I can actually work on my business rather than in my business. And I didn't see it possible unless I outsourced it. And we outsourced it, a long time ago with VAs from Upwork. And yes, they're trained VAs. And the entry and the starting point is so easy, but because it's so easy and because there's such a low entry point, that's where the issues start. So I've had like 3 or 4 VAs and from Upwork, all of which have been terrible. One person will be amazing for a week, they get their pay, and then the next week you don't really hear from them much. There's no communication. So yeah, getting a VA, a fully trained VA with you, really has allowed me to sort of open up my day a bit more to do things to grow my business rather than working in my business. I've probably just gone on a tangent and answered 4 different questions. I'm so sorry.
Hey, no, that's cool. And I think, look, one of the questions which I'll probably ask is, hiring a VA, and you went through the Fast Track FBA Academy, hence why we're having this conversation now. And hey, I'm really grateful that you chose us to do it. And we can talk about how that's been afterwards. But I think it's not cheap. It's a lot of money, and a lot of people will probably look at that and say, oh, that's a lot of money to pay just to have someone find and hire and train a VA, let alone obviously the cost of having the VA on top. It's a really big expenditure. And I think, look, my question is, for you had to look at that as well. And I'd ask is, if anyone's kind of looking at that and going, oh, I'm not sure, what would be your advice, or what would be your thoughts to share with them?
Don't cheap out. Like, I'm the biggest cheapskate when it comes to expenses, honestly. But at the end of the day, you need to grow, so you need to invest in your business. At the end of the day, all the money you put into your business is an investment. You don't put money in the business to get no return. And yes, you may not see an initial return at the beginning, but it's like that. Everything you buy stock and you sell it to Amazon, and there's a possibility that the listing might get closed, or someone might undercut you, or Amazon controls the buyer box. There's always risk involved. So yes, there's an element of risk when putting money into anything, but when you're putting it into your actual business and you're investing in your business to grow by getting a VA, then yeah, it's worth it. And mate, what I'm like as well. We've had chats before. I am a real tight ass when it comes to stuff like this, but yeah, hand on heart, best thing I've invested in. I'm not just saying this either just because we're on video. It is a bet I put money in. Just because, like I said in my previous sons, it's just allowed me to free up more time to actually grow the business. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I understand. And I think, look, it's a lot of money. And, we take that risk every day with the stock that we buy and we ship it in. And hey, I do it in my Amazon business. And interesting enough, when we look at hiring a VA, we're like, oh, that VA directly doesn't give me money. I then have to go invest in the deals that they find. But there's two things, and a VA is really, there's two things I always say about people, or not people, what you're doing. One is to make me money, and the other one is to save me time. And a VA does that. It's time. Yeah. And, and I think, we've had conversations in the past whereby, you've I'm just, you said it, finishing at 1 a.m, starting at 6 to 8 in, you're just slowly killing yourself. You're slowly killing yourself to try and build a business. And hey, and as much as we call it a business, it isn't. It's a self-employed job. When it's just you, it's a job. Yeah. When you start hiring VAs, it now starts becoming a business because things happen without you. Before we even got into the VA starting with you, how was the academy process? From the moment you paid your money to, before they started with you, how was that experience with the Fast Track FBA Academy?
Smooth, really smooth. Considering it was I'm pretty sure I was the first one or one of the first people to get involved in this. I was expecting it to be not bumpy, but I was expecting it to be some things and hiccups because obviously it's new. We're all learning still. But no, really, I can't remember the lady who runs the Fast Track. What's her name?
Judette,
that's it. I had her emailing me constantly with updates. What's happening? This was happening. This is what you need to do. Here's a guide on how to do it. Really hold my hand and baby step. I haven't got time to figure out what to do. Judette and the team was just literally telling me exactly how to do it. So it was so quick and easy, really smooth.
Cool, fantastic. And was there much effort you had to put in, or was it any times worry or any concerns you had throughout that process?
No, honestly, no worries at all. Nothing. I couldn't say anything that nothing. I didn't worry about anything.
Okay, cool. And then look, so let's just talk through. How was it when your VA came on after the VA Academy? What happened then? And I know there's maybe a little thing we'll talk about and say it because I think it's very fair. This is the nature of what we do. We have issues. So how was life like in that first week when your VA onboarded with you?
Right. So first week, we had a VA come from the academy. She ticked all the right boxes. She performed well, and everything was, great. she's come on board, and in sort of 2-3 days, the leads are amazing. I still got a lot of the stuff that she's found me, and it's still selling pretty well. So that was a great investment, just her alone. But as the days went by, she just wasn't hitting the criteria, just wasn't hitting the numbers. And, it comes to a point where I wasn't having a go at her, but I was sort of saying, like, look, this is the criteria. This is the minimum that we need. I need you just to provide the bare minimum just so we can, when you get a VA, they're not going to be amazing to start off with. Like, they're not going to be 100%. They're going to know how to source and what the criteria is look for. And it's just over time, you're building that. You're constantly learning. You're constantly training, like teaching them tips and tricks and that sort of things that you've learned over the time. And it just didn't get to that point with the first VA. Just, she eventually turned around and said, okay, this is my notice. I'm going to have to leave and sort of leave it at that. It's a bit upsetting at first. And I was a bit like, oh God, now what? What am I going to do? And it was that initial panic, but I mean, I'm glad she sort of did hand in her resignation, fairly early, because the last thing I wanted was to get, 2-3 months down the line with her, invested my time and knowledge into her sourcing, and then her to quit.
Yeah.
And then that would be like, great, all right, I've got to do this all over again now. And I mean, you found a VA for me, a replacement VA, like pretty quick. They went through the entire process again from the previous candidates, and I'm with April now. Love her. Oh my God, she's great. I love her. She's so nice. And, it's amazing how quick the turnaround was from having a VA quit to having a new VA who was, knocked out of the park.
Fantastic. And hey, look, I think, and it was a real shame, but also it was really interesting from our perspective. We learned so much about, just that onboarding process, how we deal with certain parts. And, like you said, you were literally one of the first customers who ran through it. So it was a real shame that the first, one of the first VAs quit. But yeah, I think if I can ask you, your VA, and I remember this one, I'm asking this question is, how much did you spend on the first day of the deals that she found you?
Oh man, I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. I think it was like well over like 500 or 700 quid or something like that, like straight away, and everything was like 20. This is the criteria that I gave her, but everything was like minimum 25% ROI across the whole board, pretty much. Yeah. And those leads are doing amazing. Like I said, they're still doing amazing. I'm selling, them quite often. It's just a shame that, that was short-lived, but it's part and parcel of it. Things happen.
And hey, it's really interesting in the fact that admittedly you've had 2 VAs now. The first one didn't work out, but even on day 1, they managed to find you enough deals that you could spend £500, £600, £700 on those deals. Like, that's day 1. Yeah. Like, that's incredible. And that was like, oh my God, what the hell? This is insane. Yeah. And the one thing I'd say to anyone is that isn't normal. If anyone's watching this, that isn't normal. And you've got to think these VAs 2 weeks beforehand, they'd never seen the Amazon marketplace in their life. So to be able to find that after 7 working days of training is really, really good. Yeah. But hey, you know what? These things happen, and as much as I'd much rather you didn't have that problem and you had a great VA who stayed, but from our perspective, as to say that I'm really pleased that we could resolve that issue whereby your VA quit and we could fix it very, very rapidly.
I think it's good that, don't get me wrong, I think it's a shame it's happened, but I think it's good as well that it happened so early obviously for me, but also for you as well, because it just showed how quick you can turn it around and find a resolution find a solution for the problem. So yeah, I think that was comforting for me to know as well, is that if something does go wrong, how quick can you turn around and get me another one back in? And yeah, dude, that was awesome. That was good. That was good to know. It was a shame it happened, but good at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. And that's great. And it just shows that we've put the procedures in place and we've got the systems in place to say, right, we've got a problem. Let's deal with it. Come on, let's go. So obviously now you've got your new VA and your second VA, because the first one didn't work out. So you've got your new VA. Tell us about life now with a VA in your business. What's it like?
Yeah, a lot less stressful. A lot less stressful. I'll tell you that for one. I don't have to spend my time now and my day going through all these retailers and going through all these websites and making sure the criteria hits. The money I spend on April every day, say I'm saving 6 hours a day, from not sourcing from online arbitrage. But I can then spend those 6 hours maybe even doing extra online arbitrage myself, or maybe going out and doing retail arbitrage or wholesale or PL if you people do that. Or admin, or just whatever it is, working in my business, that's only cost me such a small amount of price to pay. I'm still getting the results that I need to get to grow my business. So, a lot less stress. And I can see the growth. You can 3 years I'm doing this now, just over 3 years. And I've always had the mentality of I can do this all by myself. And I promise you now to anyone that's watching this, you cannot do this yourself. You need good people, trusting people that are going to back you 100%.
It's changing leagues, going from running the whole Amazon game to yourself to now hiring a team. It's a different level. And if you don't mind me asking, you've done 3 years running it yourself, and hey, you've done it very successfully. You talk about it a lot. I've seen some of your YouTube videos. Really great, honestly. But you're now changing into a different kind of. Your business has changed, fundamentally changed. It's no longer Curtis. It's Curtis and April, and soon to be more. What's changed in the way you view your business because now you have a VA?
I can in my head I can see the picture becoming more clearer on what I need to do and how to grow it. Where I was always spinning the plates on my own, I couldn't see what I was doing because, I've got shiny object syndrome, I swear. So, if there's 10 different things to do, I'll put 10% of my energy on each one, and everything's going to grow at such a small rate with 10% of my energy. So now it's sort of been like, right, okay, so now I've freed up 30% of that, 3 of those tasks to April. April can do that now. I've now got more chance and more like brain to think on, other parts of my business to make them grow. So the mentality has changed now from, this is me running a, self-employed business, you could say. So now it's like, this could be a business, like a real proper business where, it's no longer you're doing 1K days, you're doing sort of 10K days. And that's where you make your money. And that's where the growth really does hit home. And you do start seeing those, it's all good earning, a grand or 2 or 3 a month, whatever. But I think now I can see it in the point where I'm like, hold on, wait, if I keep going the way I do and I get, another VA and, outsource prep, then, the only thing I then have to worry about is, capital. That's going to be my next worry. So, I can really see, the growth going forward. Exciting.
Fantastic. It's game changing, isn't it? It's game changing.
Yeah.
It's like beforehand, like you say, you kind of have this big picture of where you want your business to be, but it's quite hard when you're doing it every day to actually go, how am I actually going to get there? But the moment you start hiring someone, you start having time, and now you start going, oh my God, like I've got 8 deals. I've got 10 deals today. Like I've just woken up. Oh my God. Like I don't have to worry about that. Okay. I can do other stuff now. And then you're like, my God, if I just do a couple more VAs, then I start doing this, and then it starts scaling, and you're like, your problem now is you don't have enough time to buy all the deals that she's finding you.
Yeah, that is my literal problem. One, I haven't got enough time to find the deals. And then sometimes, like, there's been days where I spend so much on her deals, I'm like, wait, I haven't got any money to spend. Like quick, I need to sell more stuff to get more money to pay for it. But, it's interesting. It's an interesting one.
Fantastic. And hey, look, let me ask you the question. What's the future hold for you? Talk me through, if anyone's watching, hey, they've been watching your videos, watching what you've been doing, obviously in your group, LevelUP FBA. And if anyone's watching this, I'll drop it down below. What's the future hold for you? Where do you see your business going?
I really want to get past half. I want to say like this. Not 500,000. I want to do 500,000. That's what I want to do in sales. Like 500,000 sounds sexy, doesn't it? I want to do the minimum a year, 500,000. That is the minimum. At the moment, we're sort of doing like over 250 a year, 250, 350. I want it to be minimum 500,000 a year. So, that's sort of where I want to get.
How are you going to get there? 500,000. What's the plan? Give me the 5-step point that you're going to think about doing if anyone's watching it.
Oh, right, okay. The plan, I can tell you that. I know this one. So the plan is, I spoke to April about this. I want to get her to a point where she no longer really has to ask me any questions. So at the moment, she asks me questions on a daily basis. Just, is this okay? What do you think of this? Shall we buy it? Shall we add it? I want to get to the point where she doesn't even have to ask me questions like that anymore. I wanted to get her so she knows what she's doing every day in, day out. I said to her, once we've done that and once we're up to that point, which is hopefully in the next sort of 4 to 8 months, I then want to hire another VA and then hopefully end this year with 3 VAs. That's the goal, to have the end of the year with 3 VAs. Yesterday, funny enough, I just not fully hired someone, but I've got someone I had someone in yesterday for like a training day, like a test day, prepping in my storage locker. So that's going to then free up a lot more time for me to do other things and, growing other parts of my business or another business. So that's the plan at the moment, is to get April to a point where she no longer needs to ask me, and then hire another VA so she can then train them as well, obviously from the academy. So they'll be coming out of the academy, and then she'll be sort of teaching them the tips and tricks that I've learned, that she could pass them to them, and then another VA, so on and so forth. Because of that, I then, I'm making, the way I look at it is I'm making money with having a VA. So that then frees up and makes me more money to then hire someone to prep. Now that allows me more time to focus on other parts of my business to make me more money. So really this year is, since we had our little dinner date in Wagamama's on that beautiful night, it's now just painting the picture for me is that I need to outsource and free up this whole Amazon business in the next 12 months. So that's the real goal at the moment. So get 3 VAs end of this year. I'd like somebody either on a part-time basis, and if the VAs are finding me enough deals and I've got enough cash to constantly keep deals coming in, I want to be so busy that I have to go, do you know what, look, I'm going to offer you a full-time role in my business, get everything set up properly, and then, that's sort of me done on the Amazon front, and then I can start venturing into other things.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
Yeah, it's good. Hey, great. And I think, my God, what you're talking about is what is everyone thinking about? And the question is how are you getting there? And I think that's really good. And, that change from going, it's me doing RA every single day, doing bookkeeping, doing everything, to I want to have a team of people. I want Amazon basically running itself, and I'm working on it, not in it. And it's going from here to here. That's a challenge. And interesting enough, it's that first VA which starts opening your eyes, starts going, my God, things actually happen when I get good people in my business. And then you can start to see the next steps. Exactly. Yeah.
It's an investment at the end of the day. Like, it sounds stupid, but I know this is going to sound stupid, but things like a tape gun. Like, tape gun costs like a tenner or $5, whatever. The amount of time you spend without a tape gun, peeling the tape off, buying it, in your box, you could spend that time elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds stupid, but I'm always trying to look at cutting corners and getting things done efficiently and properly and sort of minimizing costs. And I think, having that there, and, it makes sense to do it, 100%.
Definitely. And a quick question for you. Hey, you talk about cutting corners, and you talk about you are someone who, you say you always try and make sure you're, getting a good bargain or a good deal. Question for you is, hey, you've looked at VAs across different platforms. Would you cut corners on your VA, or would you say don't?
No, done it. Not worth it. I've probably spent well past $1,000 on bad VAs who say they can do the job. They deliver for a few days, and then it all goes, pear-shaped. And then you go, right, I'll go through the whole process again, spend more time making, roles and, making sure that people understand the role and testing them and then training them a little bit. And then the time you spend doing that and the money you lose from doing that, you might as well just go proper and go for, the premium and go for gold and go with FastTrackFBA.
Yeah. Hey,
that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And hey, I agree. And I think, there's a certain areas you might want to cut costs, but it's your people, you invest in your people and they deliver you tenfold and coming back. Massive. So question for you, and hey, someone might want to know about this is, what's the relationship like between you and your VA? What's it like on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it's funny. We're just mates. I probably shouldn't do it like that because, like you said, you're running a business. But I'm super chill out and I'm super honest with people as well. Like I have no filter, unfortunately. So we chat and we just chat like crap. It's funny. Like outside of work, she'll be like she messaged me a few days ago saying, "Hey, Curtis, is it cool if I go out? Is it cool if I end my shift 6 hours early because my mum's birthday? We want to go out for a meal." I was like, "Yeah, sweet, cool. As long as you fund the leads after or before, I couldn't care less. Just do what you got to do." And the next minute, she was messaging me like we had the most nicest chicken dinner. I was like, "Oh my God, what did you have? Tell me all about it. Like, I want to know the details." There's things like that. Like we just chat. Like she's a big gamer. She likes playing her games, and when I can, I like to play my games as well. So we just chat stuff like that. Talk about coffee.
Hey, it's good. Honestly, it's good. And hey, look, question for you is, some people were like, "No, I need to create my VA. It needs to be, I'm the boss. They're the VA, that kind of thing." And how's it? Would you agree with that, or would you not? How have you found having that relationship?
Put yourself in the perspective, in the mindset that you're back in the 9-to-5 jobs. You're working for someone else, whatever. Imagine how managers or people who are above you spoke to you and how it made you feel and how it made your productivity come out. And then apply that to your business. So I think if you're going to speak to somebody like you're above them, they're going to feel below you and they're not going to feel equal to do. You know what I mean? I'm a big believer of mentality and how it affects your productivity. So talk to somebody like crap and they're going to know it and they're going to feel it. And in long term, your sales are going to feel it. So just be nice to people, man. Like, that's what I don't get. Just be nice. Don't be dick.
What's really interesting is the fact that I say this to everyone: people don't work for companies; they work for bosses. If you have a good boss, they'll stay. If they have a bad boss, doesn't matter if it's the best company in the world, they'll quit. And you know what? Especially at our level, where we're operating quite small teams, we're not a big conglomerate or something. It's like a team of predominantly it's like 1, 2, 3. Team of 3 or 4. It's the fact that it's all about you're all in it together, and you're all like, if you're all having a bad day, you're all having a bad day. If this company's having a good day, everyone's 100%. Together.
100%, yeah, exactly. You've got not only are you investing in people in your business, but you're investing in the people as well. So don't make an investment and then start being arse about it. Don't start being nasty. Do you know what I mean? So otherwise, it just undoes everything you've done. Great. Like April, could, for example, produce me 10 deals tomorrow, and they're all bad. And I can turn around and say, "Do you know what? I'm not happy. Get your stuff together, and make sure tomorrow's a better day." I feel like that to me, if somebody said it to me the next day, I'd be like, "Oh, look, I'm stressed now. I've got to do this and I've got to make sure it's perfect." It's just unnecessary stress to people, isn't it? So I think as long as you treat people with respect and as long as you're all on the same page and you all know where you're going, it's going to be a fun ride. Just don't be a dick. Sorry.
Hey, no problem. And hey, look, as a leader, as a boss, this is a thing. You are going from self-employed to a leader now. That's a big difference. And the one thing I always say to people is, as a leader, you set the tone, you set the energy. If you are fun, friendly, like this is a place, come on, people, we're going places. People buy into that. They're like, "Yeah, cool, I love this." And you'll be amazed at the amount of VAs who I interview who are like, "They're really bad. I hated that company," or "I didn't even get paid." And you're like, it's just so refreshing to have someone who's got a bit of soul, a bit of life. And Curtis, you're full of soul and life. I love it.
I do try.
Question for you: if anyone is watching right now, what top tips, and let's say, for example, let's do 3 top tips you would share if they were going to hire a VA? How would they onboard, or how would they get that VA doing the best they can in their business? So Curtis's 3 top tips for onboarding a VA on their first week into your business.
If you get a VA, don't cheap out, invest in your business, and obviously go for you guys. Go through FastTrackFBA. Make sure there's no barrier between you and the VA. Like, the last thing you want is somebody working for you, and you're working together, and they feel like they can't approach you. Yeah. So that would be mine. Is like, I don't want April to ever feel like she can't approach me with questions. And in the day she grows and learns, then we all grow and learn. So that would be my second tip. Third tip, I'd say have a list of, obviously you guys provide a list of websites anyway for the VA to sort of get started. I'd also say have another list of websites that you prefer. And number 4, 3.5, have them tracking the deals. So the website. So I think it's managing their time and their results effectively. So first one, go for the premium standard with you guys, FastTrackFBA. Make yourself approachable. You want them to learn and grow with you. So don't put up this shield of, you're the boss, you're the big man, or whatever. Just you're getting on a level of chat outside of work. Like, what are you doing today? How was your day? What do you eat, for example? 3 is have them organized. So, write down lists of websites that you prefer and then organize how are they maximizing their work efforts on an hourly basis. So, yeah, that would be my 3 or 4 top tips that I found that we've implemented and they're actually working. So, that would be more.
Fantastic. And hey, look, for me and anyone watching, that's really great. I would stress point number 2 in the fact that people don't understand, especially in the Philippines, how much more you get out of your VAs when you get to know them personally. You become more personable to them. You are not the boss anymore. You are, you're on the same level. And for my team, I'm stop calling me sir. I'm not sir. I'm Tom.
Yeah.
Just call me Tom.
I said that straight away to April. She was like, hello, sir. I was I'm not sir. Just call me Curtis. Call me kid. I don't care. Just don't call me sir. I don't like that. I feel like that's putting me above someone. So I don't I want to be on the same level all the time. And
it's brilliant. It's really good. It's so nice. And hey, we still get the odd communication from April within our internal chat because she's still in the Fast Track FBA Academy aftercare, and she every now and then she updates us, and I'm like, hey April, I've not heard from you. How are you going? She's like, I'm great. I'm just talking to him all the time. We're doing lots of things. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll leave you to it. Crack on. That's good. But hey, it's really nice and it's really positive from her side as well. And I really like that. And I think, and hey, if anyone is watching this, whether it be you or whether it be any of our other clients, the feedback I would stress the most is the fact that when you get to know your VA on a personal level and you bring that, you are personable with them, that is when you get the most from them. That is when they buy in, they give so much more value, and they just excel, and that goes whoom, and your business does that as well. But one thing which I'd probably just kind of highlight is the fact that, I did a post today on my group. I've done 6 hours of interviewing today, is to say I interview all the candidates.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and the big thing about it is the fact that I'm not just interviewing people who can do the job. I'm trying to interview people who you will get on with.
Yeah, and that's it.
And it's so nice to hear that you get on with April and it's not about, they can find me deals and it's fine. It's like, no, this person's part of my business and I'm going to grow with them. They're growing with my business. And that's wonderful to hear. Right, from me, Curtis, and hey, look, from anyone who is watching this video, I just want to say thank you, sir, for all your knowledge, everything you've shared, and hey, your time in sharing, this journey that you've been through. And hey, it's definitely been a journey. You've gone through, that mindset of having self-employed business, going through to actually hiring a VA and making that tough decision, investing that money, getting your first VA, and then obviously losing a VA. And hey, these things happen. They're only human. It does happen. And then obviously getting your second VA and now seeing that change and obviously having your business explode. You've got 2 more deals coming in. Wonderful, wonderful. So for me and anyone else watching, thank you so much for sharing. And I think, look, one of my questions I'd probably just ask is if anyone is watching this and wants to get in contact with you, maybe they've got some questions, maybe they just want to follow your journey, what's the best way to do that?
Direct message me, honestly. Any questions, just direct message me on my Facebook or tag me in a question in a group and I'll answer. Where I can, I'll answer it.
So if you get 200 direct messages tomorrow, don't blame me. That's your fault. What I will What I will say is, if anyone's watching this, I'll drop a link down below. LevelUP FBA, that's Curtis's group. Really good group. I'm part of it as well. And, you can just tag him in there. Interesting enough, a lot of people will comment as well. Really supportive group, really great. They might answer some of your questions, but, Curtis is like on fire in there whenever he's not working, which is like 24/7.
I put a post in the group today. I was like, thank you everyone that contributes in the group. And it's true, because sometimes people will post questions, and the time I had to get to view it, it's already got 5 answers from other group members. So I'm like, you guys are so good. I love it.
And hey, that speaks volumes about you.
No.
I agree. And that speaks volumes about who you are, and the fact that you as a personality people love, and they're in your group and they're supporting you and supporting that conversation. So thank you. Right, we will leave it there. So Curtis, I will leave you to get back to whatever you're going to be doing, hopefully buying some deals, because I know you've got a 40 or deals.
I've got it loaded up. I'm ready to go.
Right, I will leave you to it. But for me, Thomas Parkinson, FastTrackFBA, and anyone else watching this, thank you, Curtis. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. And obviously, I will leave you to it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Nice one. Cheers. Thanks. See ya.